Okay, so in today's training, we're going to be talking about your ideas. We're going to be talking about the content that you use in your program. And we're going to take a look at a snapshot of what you know so that you can put that together and make that in your own unique intellectual property. You see, there's nothing new under the sun. And our ideas are normally ideas that we've got from experiences, from learning from others, etc. You know, this topic that I'm taking you through today, I learned a lot about these sort of things from people like Matt Church when I went through Thought Leaders. But what I've been able to do is take my own ideas and tweak and adjust and use my own experiences so that I've got my own intellectual property. And that then becomes something that's yours, something that helps you to stand out. And by doing it this way that I'm going to show you today, it helps your clients to get results as well. It's not about giving them information, it's about helping them to get that transformation that you are saying that they can get in your promise. All right, so let's go in and have a look. All right, so when we're putting our intellectual property together, there are three key areas that we want to make sure that we work on. The first area is we need to engage. Our content needs to actually want to be consumed by our clients. Now, this is not just our teaching content. This is also in our marketing content. The second thing we want to do is be able to explain things. Stuff that we know, being able to put that across to other people. And the third and most important area is we want to empower people. So we want to engage, explain, and empower. All right, so if we look at engaging first, when we do this sort of half-hearted, not too well, we get people that are curious. Yeah, there might be something in that. But what we want to do is take them from curious with great IP to committed. Committed to themselves, committed to you, committed to the change, whatever it is. When explaining what we know, we can either just ramble and just speak out stuff that we know, or we can make sure that we do it in a way that makes it totally relevant to their situation, relevant to where they are right now, relevant to their right next step that they need to take. And as I said, we need to make sure that we empower. When we get this wrong, we just inform people with our IP, just gives them information. But when we do what I'm going to teach you today and we work on world-class content, we're actually going to help them transform. And transformation's our game. That's what we're doing. We're taking people from where they are to where they want to go. So let's take a look at how we're actually going to do that. By the way, if you are following along and you're thinking, where do I get that worksheet? If you're watching this in the live, then just put the word worksheet down in the comments and I'll get it to you. If you're watching this on my page or on YouTube, there's a link or a button down below and you can get a copy and go through it. All right. So the first thing we want to do is we want to engage. So to engage people, we use context. How does this relate to them? And what we're doing is we're showing them that this piece of content actually fits into their puzzle. It's a perfect fit. So we want to make sure that this isn't just in a broad sense information, this says to me as I'm going through it, I can see how that fits me. I can see how this is the answer to this next step that I'm trying to take right now. We also want to explain, as I said. We want to be able to explain in a way that's relevant. So what we're doing is we're explaining the high level. We're explaining the concept. So we're getting people to get the big idea. And when we do that and we do it in the right context, then they're going to connect to that message. And then the third, as I said, we want to do is we want to empower people. And this is where our content comes in. This is where the color comes in. So we've got that higher level understanding of what it is, and I can see, yeah, that fits me. But then what we're going to do is make sure that we put in the right elements so that we can get that transformation that it is they're looking for. You know, we talked about in previous weeks being able to brain dump what we've got in our head so that we only put in our program what actually needs to go in there. Stuff doesn't equal value. Results equals value. So when we do this process, that's going to help us to do that. So let's have a look a little bit further down the worksheet. By the way, if you haven't got the worksheet, just give me the word worksheet below and I'll get it to you. Or if you're watching this on my page, there should be a button down below or a link on YouTube and you can get a hold of it. All right, so what we're doing, as we have talked about before, is we're taking people from point A, where they are right now, and we're taking them to point B. And we talked about having 1, 2, 3 stages. Let me just move myself out of the way there a little bit. 3 stages in our program, and each of those having 3 steps. Now, what we want to do as we're going through this is we want to look at each of these steps, and we want to make sure that we are transforming them from whatever their problem is in that particular area to the result that they want. So for example, I run the online program Launchpad that helps people to go from no idea to having a program launch. That's a transformation. Working with someone in their identity, we're going to go from being an imposter to feeling confident, whatever it is. So each of these 9 curriculum areas that we've talked about before have a transformation. All right, so I need us to understand that. If you haven't done those before and you want to learn more about that, then you can, just ask me down below and we can get that to you. So now that we know that, let's have a look at the IP snapshot. So I've put together here an actual template that you can go through. And I want to explain to you today how that template works. And obviously in our programs, we're going to go deeper in that and do the individual components. And we'll talk about how you can do that at another time. All right. So the first area that we're going to talk about is in this top box here, is we're going to make sure that we encapsulate the value. So how do we do that? So let's make sure that we understand what the hook is, that thing that's going to get them to come in and go, I want that. For some reason, something I said in the copy, in the posts or on the page led you to say, I need that. And that's something that it's relevant to me right now. It hooked you in. And you're here watching this training right now. So the hook, what's the idea And it's all about, as we said, engaging them. It's about making sure we understand which stage it is, which step it is, which action they're actually taking. Right? So the first thing we want to do is we want to come up with the topic. So what's the topic of this particular piece of intellectual property? By the way, as we go through each of these, there's an individual step in this stage which has 3 particular sub areas or actions that they're going to go through. And within each of those, we're going to do one of these IP snapshots so that we understand with clarity what it is that we're taking them through. All right, so the topic in broad sense could be launching an online program. Okay, so that's the overall topic. That's the concept that we're wanting to talk to them about. Okay, the title is, whatever this piece of intellectual property is. And then we're reminding ourselves again, the magnetic message. If you haven't done that with me before, what we do is we've got a formula where we have an I help statement that says I help whoever it is. So insert the particular market there. I help established coaches to do something, either increase or decrease, or in this case, to go from no idea to a program launched in 90 days or less without technical overwhelm, so that they can have a consistent, regular income that is leveraged. I just made that up on the trot. So we want to make sure that we remind ourselves, what is the magnetic message? So for each of those particular areas, we're going to have a message. We're going to have, this is the promise that I'm making. This is the whole purpose of this step. All right, so that's the first one. Then what we want to do is go down into the transformation, and we're going to look at their current reality and the future result. So we're going to come back into the frustrations and fears versus the wants and aspirations. So where are they right now? Where do they want to go? So we want to talk about that and encapsulate the information around that. So what's their problem? Where are they right now? And what is it they want instead? So that's what that area is all about. Okay, then we want to go into the context. How does this actually fit in with me? Put it into some context for me so that I can understand. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is have a model or a process or some sort of visual so that they can visually, using that area and processes of their brain, they can see that they fit in there. And the other thing we want to do is get them to imagine, get them to future pace, use a metaphor, a story, emotionally engage with that. And that's giving you the context. All right, so for example, if we go back here. So this is the model of the Growth Accelerator program. And there's 3 areas that we work in. So we help coaches to get clarity around, who they are and what they know and who their market is. We help them to get clients, and we help them to develop their content, whether that be for their coaching program or the marketing. So this is a model that shows clearly what the program's about. This actual piece that I'm working with you today is all about content. So you can see that when we go back down into here, using a visual model allows you to get them seeing where this picture fits in. You know, we can use quadrant models. We can use, you know, Venn diagrams. We can get people to climb a ladder, whatever it is. And then we've got metaphors, emotions. Imagine that it's 60 days from now. You've launched an online program. You've put it together. You've designed it. You've created it. You've automated it. And people are buying it. So what's that going to mean to them, right? So you're getting them to imagine. Metaphor is, you know, it's like taking a rocket to the moon. A lot of preparation to get it to the stage where it's ready to launch. And then we build everything that we need to build. And on launch day, it goes up through the atmosphere, and then it goes into an automated process where it gets us to our destination. So whatever it is, we're bringing the context in using all the processes within the brain. All right, then what we want to do is we want to get some commitment. We want them to be able to commit to what it is that they got involved in this training for, in this intellectual property, in this program, whatever it is for you. So we wanted to get them to make decisions, to make choices. And looking at that, there's two choices that they have. They can either keep doing it the hard way, which is probably the way they're doing it right now, which is hoping that it's going to happen and hoping that their online program will just turn up by osmosis or whatever it is. And then there's the easy way. So what we want to be able to do is articulate both of those. So I suppose you've got two options really. One is take what I'm teaching you today and just go and do it yourself and work it out as you go and try and put some stuff together. Or you can join our Growth Accelerator program where we step by step go through each individual component of your coaching program and help you to put it together and to get clients. So that's an example. We also have any homework or any implementation. We need to be able to look at those sort of things so that they know what it is that they can do to actually make it happen. For you, with this bit of training, it's take this worksheet and fill it out for one particular area of your program. All right, and then the last area is actions and processes. So what are they got to do now? What are the steps that they need to take? So we want to encapsulate that. And also, we can use a case study or an example of either someone who did this well and got a program launched or whatever it is that you're talking about, or you can also use a case study of someone who didn't get it done, someone who you have as a client who, you know, procrastinated or whatever it is, and they didn't get it done. So what you've got then is a snapshot of one piece of your intellectual property for that one particular area of your program. So remember, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to understand who you are, understand what you know, understand who you serve. You've got to get the right audience. You've got to get your message right. Then as you start looking at, well, what sort of content do I need to do that? You've got to put that hierarchy together. You've got to understand, well, what are the three stages? What are the three steps within each of those? And what are the three actions that I could take them through so that they make that transformation in each of those? When we go through the online program Launchpad, for those of you who join me there, we're going to go through those things step by step. And I'm going to walk you through, I'm going to do it with you. So having that piece of IP there says I clearly know what it is that I need to produce, what I need to give them so that they can go from there to there and therefore be ready to go to the next step. All right, So just as we do always, right? The best thing for you to do is to make sure that you have a bit of a thought. What are the insights that's come out of this for you? What did you learn out of this? More importantly, what are you going to do to implement it? What are the actions you're going to take so that you get the value out of watching this video? And what impact is that going to make on your practice? By the way, if you haven't got the worksheets and you'd like to get them, then just say worksheets below if you're watching this in the group. If you are watching this on my page or on YouTube, there should be a link or a button down below and you can get a copy of those. Having your ideas encapsulated in a snapshot is going to help you to produce unique intellectual property, so that in a world of noise with coaches and consultants and trainers everywhere, people are going to recognize you by your intellectual property. And they're going to go, this method that this person goes through is going to get me the results that I want. Hey, have fun working on your intellectual property, and I look forward to seeing you in the next training.